5 scandalous queens whose desires shocked history: power, lust, and betrayal. 3 forces that shaped kingdoms as much as swords and armies ever did. When we think of queens, we often imagine graceful rulers, wise mothers, or tragic figures bound by duty. But history hides another side: scandalous queens whose forbidden desires shocked their courts, toppled alliances, and left whispers of sin echoing through the centuries. Tonight, we open the gates to a darker royal chamber, a place where love was never innocent, and where every affair carried the weight of power. These were women who defied the morality of their age, using seduction, passion, and even manipulation to bend kings and courtiers to their will. Their secrets were buried deep, concealed by scribes and silenced by time. Yet despite the attempts to erase them, their names still burn with infamy. In this video, we'll uncover 5 scandalous queens whose desires shook history itself. From forbidden romances that sparked political chaos, to lusts so dangerous they rewrote dynasties, these stories are more shocking than legend. Forget the fairy tale queens you were taught in school. These are tales of sin, secrecy, and scandal. And once you hear them, you'll never look at medieval royalty the same way again. Stay with us, because each secret we reveal pulls you deeper into the dangerous world of lust and power behind the throne. Queen 1, Isabella of France. The she-wolf and her forbidden passion, Isabella of France. Often remembered by history as the she-wolf of France, was no ordinary medieval queen. Born into French royalty and married off to King Edward II of England, her union was meant to seal peace between 2 great kingdoms. Instead, it became a tale of betrayal, forbidden desire, and ruthless ambition. Edward II was infamous for neglecting his queen, openly favoring male favorites such as Piers Gaveston and later Hugh Despenser. Isabella, humiliated and politically sidelined, found herself cast into the shadows of her own court. But rather than accept a life of submission, she carved out her own path, one that scandalized Europe. Her forbidden passion was with Sir Roger Mortimer, a powerful English nobleman. Their affair was not only romantic, but dangerously political. Together, Isabella and Mortimer plotted against Edward, eventually leading an invasion of England. In 1326, the rebellion succeeded. Edward II was overthrown, imprisoned, and under mysterious circumstances, died in captivity, with rumors of a horrific murder that only added to Isabella's dark legend. For a time, Isabella and Mortimer ruled England through her young son, Edward III. But power built on scandal rarely lasts. When Edward III came of age, he turned on his mother and her lover, executing Mortimer and forcing Isabella into quiet retirement. Isabella's story is one of passion turned into rebellion, of a queen who used her forbidden desire to topple a king. When to her enemies, she was the she-wolf. To the others, she was a woman who dared to seize power in a world built to silence her. Queen 2, Catherine the Great. Rumors that shook an empire, Catherine II of Russia, better known as Catherine the Great, was one of the most powerful women in history. A monarch who expanded Russia's borders and transformed it into a European powerhouse. Yet, alongside her undeniable achievements, Catherine's name has been forever shadowed by scandalous rumors that both fascinated and horrified her contemporaries. Married to Peter III, a weak and unpopular czar, Catherine quickly realized that her survival depended on outmaneuvering him. Through cunning alliances and whispers of forbidden affairs, she positioned herself as the true center of power. In 1762, Peter was overthrown in a coup widely believed to have Catherine's hand behind it. His sudden death only fueled suspicions, and from that moment on, Catherine's reign was marked by brilliance and scandal. Her lovers became legendary: noblemen, military leaders, even young favorites, who rose and fell with her favor. Court gossip accused her of insatiable desires, claiming she kept a rotating circle of men to satisfy both political and personal needs. The most outrageous and false rumor alleged that Catherine died attempting intimacy with a horse, a grotesque fabrication designed to tarnish her legacy. Despite these whispers, Catherine reigned for over 3 decades, proving herself far more than the scandals surrounding her. She modernized Russia, promoted education, and expanded its empire to heights never before seen. But in the eyes of her enemies, she would always be the empress whose private passions shocked Europe as much as her imperial conquests. Queen 3. Margaret of Anjou. Power, lust, and political intrigue. Margaret of Anjou, French-born Queen of England, was one of the most controversial women of the 15th century. Married to King Henry VI, a ruler plagued by weakness and bouts of mental illness, Margaret quickly realized that if she wanted to secure her throne, she would have to wield power herself, and she did so with a ferocity that shocked her contemporaries. Nicknamed the She-Wolf of France by her enemies, Margaret was accused of manipulating politics through secret alliances and dangerous passions. When Henry slipped into madness, she effectively ruled in his place, surrounding herself with advisors and favorites who stirred constant suspicion. Court whispers claimed that Margaret's son, Edward of Westminster, was not truly Henry's child, but the product of a forbidden affair, a rumor that stained her reputation and gave her enemies ammunition in the bloody Wars of the Roses. Her scandals were not just about love, they were about ambition. Margaret openly took to the battlefield, leading armies to defend her son's claim to the throne. Her enemies painted her as ruthless and lustful, a foreign queen who corrupted England with both desire and violence. Whether those rumors were born of truth or political propaganda, they cemented her image as one of history's most scandalous queens. Ultimately, Margaret's story is one of passion intertwined with power. To her supporters, she was a lioness protecting her dynasty. To her enemies, a scheming temptress who dragged England into chaos. Either way, her name endures as a symbol of how far a queen would go when both desire and ambition burned too fiercely to contain. Queen 4. Joanna of Naples. A throne stained by desire, few queens in history have drawn as much scandal as Joanna I of Naples. Ascending the throne in 1343 at just 16, she inherited not only a kingdom, but also the heavy weight of suspicion and desire. From the very start of her reign, Joanna's life became a storm of passion, politics, and blood. Her first marriage was to Andrew of Hungary, but the union was fraught with jealousy and mistrust. Within a year, Andrew was found murdered under mysterious circumstances. Whispers spread that Joanna herself, or her lovers, had arranged the killing to rid her of an unwanted husband. Whether true or not, the accusation would haunt her forever, branding her as both temptress and murderess. Joanna's personal life only fueled the scandal. She married 4 times, each union creating new enemies and new rumors. Chronicles describe her court as a den of intrigue, where passion and politics intertwined, and where the queen's desires dictated the fate of nobles and kings alike. To her critics, Joanna's throne was stained not only by her supposed involvement in Andrew's death, but also by the countless affairs and power struggles that surrounded her reign. Yet, despite the controversies, Joanna proved herself a resilient ruler. She navigated wars, papal conflicts, and betrayals, holding her throne for decades against immense odds. Still, history remembers her less for her governance and more for the scandals that consumed her life. To her enemies, she was a queen undone by lust and murder. To others, a woman fighting to rule in a man's world. Either way, Joanna of Naples remains one of the most infamous and scandalous monarchs of the medieval age. Queen 5 Lucretia Borgia, between sin, seduction, and power. Few names from the Renaissance stir as much intrigue and scandal as Lucretia Borgia. Daughter of Pope Alexander VI and a member of the infamous Borgia family, Lucretia's life was a tangled web of politics, desire, and rumor. Although technically not a queen, her influence and infamy rivaled any monarch of her time, making her one of history's most scandalous women of power. Lucretia was married 3 times, each alliance carefully arranged to strengthen her family's grip on Italy. But beyond politics, it was her supposed affairs that shocked Europe. Chroniclers whispered of her entanglements with powerful men, secret lovers, and even darker accusations. Incestuous relationships with her father and brother, Rodrigo and Cesare Borgia. Whether fact or slander, these rumors cemented her image as a woman whose allure could corrupt even the holiest of offices. Poison, too, followed her name. Tales of Lucretia, carrying a hollow ring filled with lethal powder, haunted the courts of Europe, making her not just a seductress but a silent assassin in the eyes of her enemies. Though many of these claims were likely exaggerations or outright inventions, they fueled the legend of a woman who embodied sin, seduction, and power all at once. In truth, Lucretia was also a capable patron of the arts and an intelligent political player, navigating survival in one of the most treacherous dynasties of the Renaissance. Yet history rarely remembers her virtues, only her scandals. Lucretia Borgia remains a figure suspended between myth and reality, her legacy forever stained by the whispers of forbidden passion and ruthless ambition. From Isabella of France's forbidden rebellion to Catherine the Great's infamous passions. From Margaret of Anjou's ruthless ambition to Joanna of Naples' blood-stained throne. And finally, to Lucretia Borgia, a stark legend of sin and seduction. These women remind us that history's queens were far more complex than the fairy tale images we are taught. They were not just wives and consorts, but forces of power, desire, and scandal. Some used passion to topple kings, others to hold on to crowns, and a few became legends whose reputations still shock us centuries later. Whether the rumors were true or born of political propaganda, their stories reveal how forbidden love and hidden desires could shake entire empires. And perhaps that is why we still find them fascinating today. They are cautionary tales of how power and passion collide, leaving behind both greatness and infamy. If you enjoyed uncovering these scandalous queens and their shocking desires, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into the darkest secrets of history. Until then, thank you for watching, and remember, behind every throne lies a story the world was never meant to hear.